Energy Disruptors. Please welcome to the stage Holly Ransom and Graeme Edge, Chief Instigator, Energy Disruptors.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to fall asleep or fall off an adrenaline cliff, I think. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Well, and you've been an absolute star. So
Thank
firstly,
you.
big round of applause for Holly.
Thank you for having me. It's been a joy. Everyone's been asking me, there's a couple of questions I want to cover off. One is, how did this all start? What was the beginning? Like 18 months ago, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a journey, and this started with you, as you know. I'd attended an event in London that was hosted by Richard Branson called Virgin Disruptors, and you hosted that event. And actually, we didn't meet when I was in London, and I flew home, and on the flight home, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to do this concept that Virgin used in London, but to do it around energy disruption in a energy center. And then I wrote you a message on LinkedIn that you'll probably remember. And the message was, I'm this guy from Calgary. I was in London. Thought you did such a great job. I'd like to do an event on energy disruption, but I need to forewarn you. We've got no money, no experience, no date, and no speakers. But
And
are you up for
naturally,
hosting it?
I said, like Richard, screw it, let's do it. So that's where it all began. I actually didn't know this until it was written in the Calgary Herald in the lead up to this event. So there you go.
Yeah, and the fact that you didn't just put that straight into your spam folder is quite remarkable. And you saying yes to the idea that what was a very rough concept, that one commitment led to us going and doing this. And not many of you know this, but Holly flew all the way from Melbourne to be with us, and we have been Skyping every Sunday. We have our usual time on Sundays, one of my highlights of my week, and we spend about 2 hours every Sunday for a year in preparation for the event. And again, I've been blown away by everything you do. You're the brightest person I've ever met, and just been a proper star, proper star.
Well, thank you so much. But the respect is mutual, and might I add, extends to Michelle and Rachel, who have just been phenomenal. Can we get both of you to stand, please? I don't know. We need everyone to see and acknowledge the incredible contribution. This has been a massive team effort.
It's been a huge team effort, and so Rachel and Michelle are the brains behind this. So everything you see here in terms of how the agenda worked, the speakers, how we connected with them, the vision of this, the branding, they're just rock stars, both of them. Incredible, inspirational women. And I just floored. This has brought out the best and worst in us as a team at times. But we did it together, and it's fantastic. And I also would be remiss to say as well, many of you we know in this audience. In fact, I was trying to figure this out. We probably know 400 or 500 people here who've been along this journey with us. And your generosity of making introductions, believing in what we're doing. You bought tickets early when we really had very little. Many of you have become sponsors. And I also want to give a shout out to all our sponsors. Hopefully we'll get them up on the screen here in a second. But these companies took a huge risk on this. When we first approached them about supporting something called Energy Disruptors, I think their first reaction was, are you mental to do this in Calgary? And why are you calling it Energy Disruptors? But what we were trying to do is really reframe this whole discussion around energy, discussion around innovation, and also approach to new technologies. We believe that the future of energy is incredibly exciting. It's filled with opportunity. I'm incredibly proud to be an adopted Calgarian. We've been here for 11 years. This is our home. And we mainly wanted to do this to support the future of the city and the province. So I want to just please have a round of applause for everyone who's helped volunteering, our sponsors, and everyone who's been so generous in supporting us.
And what do we think, audience? Did they nail their objective or what? Yeah. I know, right? Now, I wanted to ask you, what are you proudest of in how this came together?
Well, I also want to mention E=MC², who are our event producers. And one of the things I'm proudest of is the fact that they stuck with us through some really tough times. And we're not the most easy people to work with, in particular me. So I'd say I'm very proud that as a team we stuck together through thick and thin. And I'd also say I think I'm most proud that we were able to bring what I think many people thought was an eclectic group of speakers together and make it work. That's one of the things that for me there was a consistent thread through all the sessions. So very proud of how the program turned out. I think the space looks fantastic, and the fact that we stuck together as a team.
And I think something people have commented to me a lot during break time is the diversity and inclusion of points of view, of all points of the energy value chain, of genders, of ethnicities, of geographies, you name it. I think it's been incredible how you've curated that part of the program. And very few conferences I'm involved with go to that level of effort and conscious thought when it comes to selecting who it is that gets involved. And I think we've been really treated over the last 2 days as a result of that. It's been special.
And just on that topic, just to add to that, I mean, one of the key people for that has been Michelle. Some of the speakers she'd suggested to Rachel and I at times, we were like, are you crazy? What are you thinking? And how's that going to work at an energy and technology related event? And I think part of this was also, as each of us as a team, as Rachel, as Michelle and myself, really sticking to the vision of what we believed in. There were times it was incredibly tempting to compromise. There were times it was incredibly tempting to change the format and listen to some of the I'd say, criticism. And we've tried to listen at the right times, and we tried to ignore things at the right times. So that's been one of the biggest challenges.
Tell me, we've heard so much over the last couple of days. You mentioned that you wanted to do this in part for Calgary and for Canada. What do you want people in this room to leave and go and do?
I mean, I think the first thing is we wanted to kind of change the thinking. So when we think about energy at the moment within Canada, there's so much attention on pipelines, and there's a lot of negativity, and there's also a lot of demonization of one of our primary sources of wealth. So I think one of the key pieces of this was to get people thinking about the future of energy and how technology plays into that through a lens of opportunity rather than through a lens of fear. So if we've done that even in a small way because of the last 2 days, then I think that was the first objective. I think the second piece of this is, and this is something I was watching consistently throughout a lot of the sessions today, this call to action for entrepreneurs. So we've had the pleasure of about 100 students attending this event, and they've spent $200 each to be here. That's awesome. And I remember when I was a student, I would only spend $200 on beer. So the fact that they actually did that, they spent either their parents' money or their own money on attending. And I've had a lot of these students come up to us and our team and say we've been really inspired, and we've started companies, we're doing stuff in this space. One of the real highlights for me was I walked upstairs to the VIP lounge yesterday, and Lucas Degrassi had just come off the stage. And there were 3 young students, I think from SAIT, just having a chat with Lucas Degrassi, the Formula E world champion. And you could just see on their faces they were just enthralled by having that opportunity. So that was super cool.
The ripple effect of that will be massive. So we want people to really take it up and run with it. Go out and breathe that entrepreneurial spirit into some of this conversation.
I think so. And what we've recognized this as a team, that we've made so many massive screw-ups throughout this journey. I mean, that's almost killed us. The people who know us well know just how close we've sailed to the wind with this. I mean, really close. And at times we're like, oh my God, we're going to lose our houses, and what the hell are we doing? But I think this is maybe an example of if you really believe in something, if you stay true to the vision of it, if you're really bloody persistent, and you're also prepared to overcome fear, and always be moving fast. So whenever we've faced an obstacle, we weren't so worried about making mistakes. We were always worried about, can we react quick enough and deal with it? So I think one of the things that we'd also like to leave people with is, if you're sitting in this audience and you've always wished that you wanted to start a business or you wanted to pursue something, one of the messages I'd say is just do it. It is that simple. Just do it. You won't regret it. I think Sean mentioned earlier on this concept of audaciously failing. We could have audaciously failed at this, and we were prepared to do that. So hopefully in a small way, this inspires people to take on some of those challenges.
Even if it is just randomly messaging someone on LinkedIn, that could be where it starts. Who knows? Now, final question then. It's the other one everyone's been asking me. What next? Is there going to be Energy Disruptors 2.0? What's coming?
Well, I'm gonna have a call to action. So if we get, there's probably still about 700 or 800 people here. So if you find people from ATB and NMAX and EY, and what you need to do is corner them and say, you have to do another one of these with us. So as long as we have the support of our partners, we'd love to do another one. If you'd asked me that on Monday, well,
I think I did.
You did, didn't you?
The answer was not quite as positive at that point. It was, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a real shame to go to all this effort and break the inertia and then not do another one. We'd love to anchor this in Calgary. I think there's an opportunity to take this to other places. But one of the things, and why not, can we turn this into the top future of energy event on the planet and have it here in Calgary and bring some...
Yeah. That's an audacious goal right there.
So I think there's that opportunity. I think it's also a chance to show a different side to Calgary, a progressive, positive view of the future of the city and the province. And I think a lot of people who've traveled here, and I also want to thank them, because there's people who've flown here from all over the world, from, I know of certainly people who've come in from Australia. There's one guy who came in from Israel, literally arrived yesterday. We've had people come in from, all over the world. And I think I've got this sense from them of, wow, this is such a cool place. And I never realized that this kind of stuff would happen in Calgary. And to me, this is one of these cities that we're not outspoken enough about what just a world-class, fantastic place this is to live and to come to. So hopefully some of them are going to come here in the future and contribute to the city and the province.
So corner the sponsors and put in a good word and watch this space, I think is what I'm taking from that.
Yeah, so... And the one other thing that we do want to do, and I'll be talking to our sponsors about this in the coming weeks, is the vision of this was to launch a network and keep you connected, keep the people in this room connected around a common vision and a common goal. And we basically ran out of money to fully execute on that right now, but we'd still really like to do that. And because one of the things that tends to happen with these things, it's all kind of rah-rah and what a great event, and then nothing happens and it falls flat. So we really want to avoid that, and I think a way of doing that is potentially around this community. We're going to need the support of some of these partners to help us achieve that. But that's one of the other big objectives, not just the event. Let's build a network, a community of people around us.
Awesome. Yeah, round of applause. I think the only thing that really remains to be said is an enormous thank you to our audience. You have been incredible. You have been such a privilege to host, the way that you've engaged, the enthusiasm and the passion that's been on display, the conversation that's happened just so naturally and organically with such feverish interest, in the Collision Hub over break, you name it, it has just been phenomenal. And it is a credit to you, it is a credit to the Calgary and the Canadian community, because that's the lion's share of our audience here, in the way that you've gotten around, Graeme, Michelle, Rachel, the team, and backed them. I think that's phenomenal. Great Canadian entrepreneurial spirit on display. Wonderful to have so many international guests here and the effort and determination they've had to get here to be a part of the conversation. We thank them for that. But can we give everyone in the room who's been a part of this program, and each of you have, just a massive round of applause. Thank you for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, it is my pleasure to draw a conclusion to the first ever Energy Disruptors Unite program. Thank you so much. And can we have one final applause for our phenomenal set of co-founders for pulling it all together? Well done. Well done.